All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday to you all. I hope everybody is doing well, having a good week. Welcome to your HMG weekly wrap up. And you guys know how we do this. We could take a minute. Let me share this out to get some of you heathens on here and whatnot. Excited about today's show because I got a very special guest, somebody who I consider a dear friend, um, amazing human being. And the show's going to be a little bit different today, too, as well. We're not getting into news topics and stuff like that. 2026 is off to a weird year. We're not going to get into what's going on. All I am going to say is protect your mind, folks. A lot of things going on, a lot of stuff. Just protect your minds of what you're consuming. All right. Ask questions, but don't get the 45-degree syndrome and don't believe everything you hear and read and just question everything because it's a crazy place that we're living in. That's all I'm going to say about that. Want to give a shout out. We got a new community partner this year. Green Valley Hunters Paradise, established in 1991, down in Bath County, Virginia. Great folks down there. Happy to have them on board and looking forward to working with them here this year. So thank you all and all the team down at Green Valley Hunters Paradise. What do we got here? T-Dog, what's up, man? Appreciate you being on here. All right. Without further ado, my special guest today is a retired lieutenant colonel out of the Army. So we know she's good people right there, right? She's the host of two podcast shows, The Unbreakable Storm and Women of War. She's also the CEO of Olivia Nunn Communications. My dear friend and sister, if you will, Olivia Nunn. Olivia, what's going on, sis?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. How you been?
Doing better. It's been, like you said, an unusual 25 into 26 year. So hopefully 26 tends to lend to a better year. It is the year of the horse. It's fire horse.
Yes.
I am a horse. So hopefully this will be a good year for me.
I love it. I love it. I want to dive into this. You and I have known each other for it's about 6 years or more. We met at an event, a podcasting event, and you believe at the time you were still active duty, if I'm not mistaken.
I was.
You want to talk? Can you tell the viewers and the listeners just kind of a little bit about your background and what you did in the military?
So at the time that I had met you, I was active duty and I was working for U.S. Army Soldier for Life, which was an organization that worked on behalf of the United States Army in the business of transition for its service members. So we were on the strategic end of creating relationships with organizations that basically wanted to work with the military. Layman's terms, we were matchmakers, everything from education, employment, health, and wellness. And I served as the director of communications. So I handled all of the social media content. And during that time, a podcast series was developed known as the U.S. Army Soldier for Life podcast series. And a lot of people came to know me from that venue or that platform, if you will, because I was the host of that series. And because of U.S. Army Soldier for Life, I got to go all over the world, literally. I even got to go to Sydney, Australia, to present about U.S. Army Soldier for Life and talk about the great things that we did on behalf of the Army. And yeah. I was able to create a really large network. And that's how I came to know you when I went down to PodFest.
I love it. And I've loved our friendship over the years. You and I've worked pretty close together the last couple of years and bounced a lot of ideas off of each other and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you being here. Now that you talked about your military career, you've retired since.
Yes.
And what have you done? Or actually, we have a lot of veteran viewers on the show, and we've got a lot of people who are getting ready to start the transition phase from the military into the civilian world. What advice do you have for those that are getting ready to transition?
I think the list of advice is going to be long, and you're going to hear so much from so many different people. But however, I will say, since I was in the business of transition, and I kind of consider that I'm still kind of in that arena, I would say that you will not know what you don't know.
Yeah.
Your first year is your euphoric year. This is the year that you just are like, oh my gosh, I am so done with the military. I'm taking off the uniform. I'm done with the BS, the 0-5, formation and first sergeant calling me, or, colonel calling me, whatever your rank is, right? So your first year is amazing. However, with that being said, there is some stress when you are exiting the military, whether you decide to go on to school or you are trying to find employment. So there's some stress about that.
Yeah.
I would say, regardless of wherever you find yourself, and especially if you are listening and you are a key leader, please do the due diligence and give your service members the time that is necessary to exit service. Yes, you have TAP. It is mandated, a 1 week event that happens. However, don't leave it to 1 week. It's why we said in Soldier for Life, go early, go often, and that you should really start that clock 2 years before you decide to actually separate.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of information that comes at you, and you're drinking from a fire hose. A lot of it seems so far away, and at the same time, it isn't that far away, and you just don't know what you're trying to take in. So go early, go often. Don't wait till the last minute. Ask people around you, ask even other veterans that are strangers to you, because you're going to get different types of advice, and just take it for what it's worth and just synthesize that information. But as a key leader, give your service members the time to go. And if you are a senior leader, don't think it's going to be easy for you. Don't wait till the last minute just because you are, a lieutenant colonel or a master sergeant or sergeant major or a colonel, that you're going to walk out of the military and walk right into a job. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's so many myths to that. And at the same token, year 2, it is very dangerous. This is the year that now you're just like, holy crap. It really sits in that you are no longer part of the service, and your identity. This is the part where you start crashing about your identity. You realize, I'm not being recognized for being Lieutenant Colonel Nunn or, Sergeant Bird or whatever it was. And that's the hard part. You realize that your identity was tied to your uniform, and now you're trying to figure out truly who you are. So get involved with organizations that speak to the core of who you are. And there are over 35,000 plus and growing or service organization oriented type nonprofits that you can get involved in across America. So that's what I'll say.
And that's such great advice. Barry, what's up, brother? Good morning to you. Mark, I see you over there. Appreciate you guys jumping on. Here's the thing, and I've told people, like, and Olivia just said it, you guys got to get involved as you transition out. That's the biggest thing. Don't sit. The biggest mistake that I've seen, and Sis, correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe you've seen this too, is when you take the uniform off and then you go home and then you end up sitting in a corner and not doing anything. And sometimes that can lead to things that we do not want to see our veteran community get into. Get involved, and whether it's with a veteran based community, a veteran organization, or it could just be a regular community based organization. Get involved in your community, or just get involved with stuff that you care about. Don't sit around. And then here's the other thing, this stigma of, I can't ask for help, it makes me weak or whatnot. Put that crap aside. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because there are so many of us out here that are wanting to help and that are willing to help you make that transition. So don't be afraid to ask.
With that being said, I know we say that, and it's easier said than done. And for those that know me and have followed my story, I have a suicide story that I've shared, and I've podcasted about that. There's articles that have been written. In my own transition, I fell to rock bottom, which is one of the reasons why Unbreakable Storm was created. It was about my own transition and how I truly hit rock bottom. And there's reasons towards that. But at the same token, like you said, asking for help was the hardest words that I ever had to say out of my mouth, right? Considering I'm at 3 combat tours, I made it to the rank of lieutenant colonel. I had led at all levels from strategic down to tactical. You would think that asking for help would have been something that I could have easily had asked, say, right? But I honestly couldn't do it for a lot of reasons, right? Pride, um, embarrassment, just thinking that nobody was going to help me, or why would anybody help me? Um, that I was going to be a burden. Just the list goes on. But I will tell you that there is strength in asking for help, and that if you do, there are more people that care enough about you that they will be there for you. So be sure to ask for help.
100%. David Gordon, good morning, brother. How are you? Sis, I want to talk about, you mentioned Unbreakable Storm. That's one of the podcasts that you've started here very recently. It's something I know from offline and behind the scenes. This is these two shows that you have that have recently launched last month. This has been projects that you've been working on for quite a while, and
Yeah.
the first couple episodes, like, just absolutely mind blowing. Let's start with Unbreakable Storm. You kind of hinted around about it there and what you just said. Um, what started that process? What, Unbreakable Storm, what's it about? And then, what can people can expect, and how did you really come to that?
I think Unbreakable Storm was a process or story, a platform that was years in the making. Like I originally just said, I dropped my retirement paperwork in September of 2020.
Mhm.
And so I ended up retiring the following year. And in that process, I went through an unexpected divorce. And that was the breaking point for me. An unexpected divorce coupled with um I call the box, right? The box of where you open it and you put all the crap that you deal with and you close the lid. And for me, that box was my 3 combat tours where I had been assaulted by my platoon sergeant. I had, seen and done a lot in my combat service where I just was like, whatever, no big deal. I almost died, whatever, and just kind of shoved it in there. The endless sexual assault and harassment that I've seen my friends go through, the own sexual harassment that I've dealt with, I just shoved it in there, right? And the constant, you're not supposed to be here. Um, my peers saying that we're hoping that you fail.
Yeah.
I was oftentimes the only woman in the room. I served in a combat arms unit. Just that constant pressure. I just shoved everything in a box and just kind of laughingly, well, it's fine. It's fine. And that box can only stay closed for so long
Mm.
that by the time that I was exiting the military, which divorcing the military or retiring from the military is a big event in itself. So here I was retiring and going through an unexpected divorce all at the same time, that this box was just like, you're done. You are done with trying to pretend that this lid is going to stay shut. And so everything just kind of came spewing out. And I had to come to grips with all of the things that I was trying to pretend it didn't happen in my life over 20 years, 20 plus years. And I really hit rock bottom, and I tried to see myself out of this life, and came pretty close. And as I healed through that process, I realized that as I was sharing my story, oftentimes and quite often on a daily basis, I get stories and messages from people of how my story helped them start their journey to heal. And I realized that I loved storytelling. That's one of the reasons why I was a public affairs officer. And I loved what I did in the military as a podcaster. In fact, I had podcasters when I retired for Military Officers Association of America, otherwise known as MOA. I had podcasted for them for 3 seasons, and I did storytelling for them. And I realized what a great way to be able to bring stories of being rock bottom and rising from that by storytelling, by bringing those moments forward. And so that idea kind of took root a little, like I would say a couple of years ago, but I just kind of sat with it, and we talked about it. And I know you told me like, you need to do it. And I just kind of sat with it. And a huge part of it, because it was life for
Right.
me. Like I had been, I had been let go from a job because of the economy, everything from Doge and all of the craziness from the government, that I just kept feeling like every step that I took forward, I was getting pushed back, 5 or 6. And
Right.
so I just felt like I needed to focus in different areas instead of what was making me happy. And I finally just realized, if I keep waiting for this perfect moment, it's never going to happen. So I just said, all right, we're going to do this. And so last year in 2025, I spent the good part of the year of just saying, I'm going to do it. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it with 0 funds, but I'm going to figure it out. And so Unbreakable Storm started taking shape, and I was able to ask within the network some great people to come onto the show and share their own unbreakable moments, or rock bottom moments, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah. And they're good shows. You can find these now. They're on all social media platforms and all podcast platforms that you listen to. And of course, you can listen to the shows live at heroesmediagroup.com as well. I want to transition to another show, and I'm part of me wants to say, yeah, it's about time that you got this thing going. But it happened. It happened the way that it was supposed to, and you and I have talked about that. All joking aside, these shows came out, I think, at a really good time, and especially listening and watching them, it's definitely been good. Let's talk about Women of War. I mean, I could assume what that's about, but I don't want to assume anything. So let's talk about that one. What prompted that one, and what can people expect?
So I have to give props to a very good friend of mine, Scott Davidson. For those that truly know me, know that I have an amazing relationship with Scott Davidson. He is the co-founder of a nonprofit that I am the chief of marketing for. That is the Veteran Success Resource Group. And you often see me tied with it because I run Burbiz. It's a play on word, bourbon and business,
Yep.
where it is an annual networking event. And it's also a comedy show. And VSRG, short for Veteran Success Resource Group, has also put on a couple times a fight, a jiu-jitsu fight, as well. It was Battle of the Branches. And we also do military family markets, where we give non-perishable foods and diapers and toys to military families a couple times throughout the year. With that being said, Scott has been somebody that's been near and dear to me, somebody like family, because he was a key person in my life when I was in Soldier for Life, and then when I retired, because he was a key person in my moment of darkness. He helped me redefine my purpose. And so he actually had Women of War. He started this podcast series a few years ago. He had planned to start it, and for some issues, it just never really kicked off. And
Right.
so he just had Women of War, where the name of the podcast series just kind of sat there in his like vault. And he realized that it wasn't going to go anywhere. And with everything that's been going on, he realized, Olivia, you're going to be the person that's going to take this name, this podcast series, and just take it to where it needs to go, and use this name on the platform for what it's worth. So he gifted me Women of War. And when he gifted me the podcast series, or really the name of it, with the emblem and everything else, it was right at the time that I was about to start working towards Unbreakable Storm. And to me, it just was the perfect time. And I felt like they're 2 different story arc series. And so Women of War is designed for women who have served in uniform, whether you're in military, or you are a nurse, or you are a law enforcement, or a first responder. The only requirement is that you are in the gender of a female, and that you have served for our nation, and your stories about within those arenas, what you have come across. And war is referencing not necessarily the front lines, but the war within. Those types of jobs deal with a lot within our society. And so you oftentimes don't see the greatest parts. And so you deal with a lot. And so there's a war not only externally but internally. And I also talked about being oftentimes the only female in a combat arms unit. So it's those struggles, and it's the ability to bring those stories together. And the idea is that when I speak to other women veterans, as we speak, there are oftentimes threads of similarities of where we'll joke and say, oh my gosh, there's that time where X happened. And while we might be different branches or from different eras of service, we can say, yes, that happened to me too. And that's the idea of Women of War, is that when you listen to the story, well, maybe it wasn't your MOS or your branch of service, that you can resonate. And for the guys that listen to it, I want them to be able to listen to the story and understand some of the struggles and some of the funny ha-ha moments that women have gone through to be able to survive within a male-dominated area. Currently, we make up 18% of the military force. We have been there since all the way back to the beginning, to the foundation of our country. Yeah. But we have oftentimes are overlooked. We are the invisible veteran. And so that is the point of Women of War.
Love it. I love it. And I like how you add the other, what we call here as, community heroes in that. And the war, like not necessarily on the front lines, but kind of the war within is well too. I like that. Ken, good morning to you. Franco, what's up, brother? Appreciate you guys jumping on. Olivia, for those that are watching and those that are listening, whether they're live, we got some live people on right now. We get a lot of viewers over the weekend and whatnot. If somebody, particularly the women that want to reach out to you, maybe they have a story that they would like to share, how can people reach out to you and connect with you directly?
So I have a Calendly link. It's real easy. Jump on my calendar, get on my calendar on a discovery call at step 1, and spend 15 to 20 minutes with me. And I would love to know more about your story and see where you fit, whether is your story a good fit for Women of War, or are you a good fit for Unbreakable Storm? And then we take it from there. I really, interesting enough, every single story that I've recorded so far has been all military women. I would love to find those that have been in law enforcement or nursing or, first responders. So if any of your listeners are within that range, please, it is open to you as well. But my Calendly, it's, www.calendly.com/Olivia Nunn. Would love for you to jump on my calendar and schedule a call with me, because again, this isn't about my show, right? Or my story. It's about all the women that I've served. And Unbreakable Storm is about your rock bottom moments. And the idea behind that is, while we may share similar stories of hitting rock bottom, I want people to walk away knowing that they're not alone, that you can hit rock bottom and still rise. You can ride that storm through and just take nuggets away from everyone's story. And really, what is a rock bottom moment? They could be everything from going through a divorce, stepping back from the edge of suicide, losing a job, your company falling apart and hit rock bottom, losing somebody, fighting cancer. Again, rock bottom moments are pretty hard. And so I really want to be able to showcase those stories. And I was lucky enough to have been able to speak to 13 amazing individuals on season 1, everything from a Green Beret who lost his leg in combat and coming back to, being an addict, leaving the military and becoming an addict and rising to the top again, to, messing up in, at the very end, messing up in your military career, and being able to transform that career. And now just, being in Hollywood and being stunt coordinator and all these great things that, your life isn't over when you hit rock bottom or when you mess up. You could still continue to rise.
I love it. I love it. Folks, after the show, I'll have Olivia's calendar link in the comments below on all the different social platforms. So we'll make sure you're out there. And again, you can listen to her show. You find her on YouTube, all the places that you can listen to podcasts. And real simple, go to heroesmediagroup.com. Both of her shows are up in our directory under the podcast button there as well. One more question for you, sis. Like, what's next? You want to give us a sneak peek of what's coming up?
Well, I'm actively looking for people for season 2. So, that's, I think, a big part, because as you know, anyone who's in the world of podcast or recording, it's a nonstop engine. But I think from a personal perspective, those that do know me or follow me, I've been heavily in the realm of pageantry. The last time I titled was in 23. I have taken some time off. But I think from that perspective, I think that's still kind of on hold. But last year in 25, I decided to see if I could get into bodybuilding and just kind of do a soft entry into fit model. And I did do one show, and the idea was, did I have the intestinal fortitude to get to the gym and to eat? And I knew getting to the gym was easy for me because I like going to the gym. I started jujitsu as well. It was a matter of, can I eat? As in, can I eat correctly? Because I love sugar. Sugar and carbs are my nemesis. And so I did do that. And while the show didn't go exactly the way I wanted, I still got on stage. I did take home a couple medals. And so I just posted yesterday that I'm stepping on stage again later this year. So I started training again. So we'll see how that goes.
Good for you, sis. I'm proud of you. It's been fun watching your journey over the years, and I think you're doing a fantastic job. I certainly appreciate our friendship and you being a part of the HMG family and everything that you do for our nation's heroes all over. So thank you for everything that you do. Guys, find her. She's on, I know she's both Instagram pages, Unbreakable Storm, Women of War, Olivia Nunn. I will have all of this stuff in the show notes and in the comments sections below. Stay with me, sis. I got a couple of things I want to cover, and then I want to talk about the shows again. We're going to get back into the shows and talk about the most recent episodes here. But before we do that, guys, there's a couple of events that are coming up. I've talked about it. Next week, Podfest is happening. 2026. It's the world's largest podcasting event. I'm excited about it. You should be too. Why? Because I'm going to be there. I hope to see you guys there. I'll be on the main stage Thursday night at 5 and Saturday again at 4:30. January 15th through the 18th. There is still time. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida at the SeaWorld there. It's going to be fun. So if you get a chance, or if you're watching this, if you're going to be there, hit me up. Let me know so we can get together. Also, I want to, let's see if I can multitask. Copy and paste this in the show. Military Creator Con is going to be in Arlington, Texas, April 16th, 17th, and 18th. The website is now live. You can go get your tickets now. It is it's an event that we've normally had at Podfest. It's created its own event this year. A lot of speakers already lined up for this thing. Tickets are being sold. If you decide to get tickets, use promo code HMG. You can get 10% off your ticket price. So hopefully we'll see you in April. And then just recently, like in the last couple of days, I got the hiccups. The National Social Media Awards is happening. It's first time in the United States. Usually there's a big UK thing. June 7th in LA. They've reached out to Heroes Media Group, asked us to be a part of it. We're going to have a table there. We're going to be doing some live interviews on the red carpet. If this is the first year that every category that they have, you can nominate a veteran as well. Super cool. So I will have the links for that here later today as well. So let's make sure that we get on that. Let's dive into the shows this week. And I want to start off with our very special guest, Olivia Nunn. Olivia, to talk about let's go with Women of War. What was the latest episode, or what's the next episode that's coming out with Women of War?
The latest one I dropped was on Angel Rios. So she was a Air Force veteran, and she talked about her time in Bosnia, and how we got connected was the pageantry world. So we talked about her time in the rain in Bosnia, and then her transfer into being a queen. And then the next one up was Maureen Farrell, and she was also in the Air Force, and her time being a health welfare officer, but more specifically, some of the challenges that she had, especially at Dover. She was there when 9/11 happened, and then ending up at the White House towards the end of her career doing policy. And so her span was, very tactical, then all the way strategic. And so I think, you don't want to miss that conversation. And then I jumped to Kathy Turner, and a fellow Army public affairs officer. So there's just so many great stories that are coming down the pipeline. And then I will say that it's weekly. It will end in March with season 1, and you don't want to miss how it ends, because it will end with somebody big, and a phenomenal storyteller in her own right, and somebody who gifted us a legendary story from World War II. So definitely stay tuned.
Wow. All right. So that's coming. So from now until the end of March, that's Women of War. Yes.
Yes.
All right. The next one we have is Unbreakable Storm. What do we have there?
Yeah, so Sean Livingston was the episode that just dropped, and his was about he was in the Army, and when he got out of the Army, he found himself he got out because of injury, and he got addicted to painkillers, and then that painkiller addiction turned into quickly into heroin. And so his journey of being an addict, and how his parents had to watch him fall apart, and how he had to go through that struggle of being an addict, being turned away from his family, and going through recovery, not just once, but a few times. And then just realizing that he had to make a change for himself. And so his whole stories about redemption. And so he talks about it as I Am Redemption. He's now a podcaster himself. He also is a motivational speaker. He goes into prisons, and he talks about his story, because he did go to prison. So not only was he an addict, but he also did hard time for this as well. And it was really a story about, you can truly hit rock bottom and really mess up your life, but you can find redemption. And that's what it's all about. So it's everything from being a great soldier, messing it all the way up, and then finding redemption. So you definitely want to miss that. You don't want to miss that. You definitely want to tune in and listen to his story. And then I will say that the season will also end in March, and it goes all the way through. And you'll want to listen to Unbreakable Storm. I've got people from, former Green Berets who turned to be NFL players, to those that messed up in the military, went from one branch to another to start working with Hollywood. And so, I think every story represents resilience, represents that rock bottom moments can be something more than just the end for you. So you definitely want to stay tuned for each episode that drops.
Pretty inspirational, I would say the least. Absolutely. Sis, I appreciate you being here today. We're going to go over some of the other shows here. You're welcome to stay on. We'll cover these real quick. Again, thank you. And guys, you can check out Olivia's shows. Go to heroesmediagroup.com, Unbreakable Storm, and Women of War.
Well, thank you.
Next up, we got Double S Podcast. They went live this week. Gene was on. I seen him. Gene, what's up, brother? Good morning to you. I see him in the comments section here. They look ahead for 2026 with the Roman Warriors Foundation and True Patriot Outfitters. They also talk about the Patriot Borderlands Kayak Series that's coming up for all you kayak fishermen out there. Don't want to miss this one. Double S Podcast. Check it out. The strategic veteran this week, Zach Miller, founder and CEO of Patriot Growth Capital, breaks down why entrepreneurs is one of the most powerful paths back to purpose after the military. He was raised by 2 Marines and surrounded by service his entire life. Zach shares how he walked away from corporate America to help veterans become business owners instead of employees. This is a really, really cool episode. Check it out, The Strategic Veteran. Next up, we got the disgruntled PM. Where is he? T-Dog 19. I saw him on here in the comments somewhere. This is T-Dog's show. He's got Stacy Brookover, project and program manager with a significant presence on LinkedIn. They discover Stacy's journey and career consulting, the value of paid services, and dynamics of project management. The conversation also touches on challenges of contract work and the importance of personal branding and the satisfaction of achieving project success. I know I get satisfied when I actually complete a task. So that is the disgruntled PM. Check that out. JMac podcast. He's got some new stuff coming out and dropping. She-Bird the Vibes got a new episode coming out here soon. Stay tuned for that. Vet SOS, now a 501c3 nonprofit. They got 4 shows that they did this week. They got different series. They got their Military Effect, the Vet SOS. They got Learning Lifeline, and The Scoop. All great episodes this week. Make sure you check it out, Vet SOS. Let's see here. Unapologetic Veterans podcast. You guys have heard me mention these guys before. They had did a couple of episodes last year. Just got off the phone with their host yesterday, and they are back in 2026. They've got a full season already ready to go. It's ramping up. It's going to be coming out the first part of February. So we're happy to have them back on board and looking forward to their new content. So stay tuned for that. Speak Up, Show Up, Lead podcast with JJ Hardy this week, unlocking leadership through intuitive communication, authenticity. I said it right. Presence and overcoming fear with special guest Tina B. Bakehouse. Check that out. Next up, we got the Arms Room Show, the OGs of HMG. This week, they're discussing maintaining readiness, being mentally strong. Check it out. They got a new episode that drops every Monday, 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Homefront Sit Rep podcast. They got a new season in 2026 that's out. Make sure you check it out. They got new stuff. They're live every Sunday and Monday nights. Stay with me. Got a couple left here. Patriots Inside the Wire. They're rebranding. They're coming back soon. Stay tuned for that. Misfit Nation podcast. I saw Rich LaMonica on here a moment ago. This is his crew, but this one we're talking about the Tuesday crew. This week they welcome U.S. Army National Guard veteran Kevin Odom. He's a seasoned behavioral health leader and a person in long-term recovery whose life and career sit at an intersection of service, healing, and purpose. Another great episode, Misfit Nation podcast. Check it out. Label Free podcast. This week, Deanna talks with Chris Bingham, the owner of Renowned Working Dog, talks about his canine Tambo. Chris shares his inspiring journey with Tambo, a German Shepherd who has faced numerous challenges, including being stubborn. Imagine that, a dog being stubborn. I love German Shepherds too. They also share their support that they get from Project Canine Hero. This one pulled on the heartstrings, especially for all you dog lovers out there. Label Free podcast. Check it out. We got your 6 at 6 with People Patriot Project every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. They talk with how Roger Waters helped start the Resilient, and they also had Special Forces medic who designed a modular first aid kit this week. They do a show every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Other side of the firewall. This week, they're talking cybersecurity, including significant malware attacks affecting millions of browser users, and why it's important that we start understanding what cybersecurity looks like and what we need to do and protect ourselves here at home. Chasing Happiness, Christian entrepreneurs and real Christian entrepreneurs and real estate-minded listeners wrestling with purpose in 2026. Well, this week you'll learn how to stop letting your job or your W-2 define yourself and instead seek God's calling. This is a really cool episode as well. Ryan did a good job. Last one for the week. Voices from the front line. Actually, Olivia, this remind me, sis, I got to put you in touch with this one here. Voices from the front line. Neural command trauma informed leadership under pressure. High stress helping professionals are not failing. They're being asked to operate in environments that ignore how human brain actually works under pressure. What does she mean by this? Take a listen to check it out. Voices from the front line. That's it for the shows. Shout outs to our network sponsors, the people that are coming back on for 2026. Jim Neary's live bait and tackle. My Tax Fella. It's tax season, guys. I know it's a favorite part of the year for everybody, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to dwell on it. Go to get the professionals, mytaxfella.com. Go check them out. Tell them HMG sent you. We also had our new community sponsors, Green Valley Hunters Paradise. Welcome aboard. Forget Genetics. Can't forget those guys there. Forget Genetics, another veteran-owned company. There's Anthony Moriello down there. My Tax Fella. Great services over there. Make sure you check them out. And then, of course, our sister company in the background here, HMG Beverage. You can go to HMG Coffee or HMGbeverage.com. That is it for this week, guys. Protect your minds. And sis, Olivia, sorry, she's sis to me, everybody. That's why I love having her on here. That's why we talk like that. But Olivia, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We'll make sure that we stay in touch a little bit better the next couple of months. Yeah.
No, thank you.
I appreciate you, sis, for being on. Folks, that's all the time that we have today. God bless you. God bless America. Next week, we're going to be live from Orlando, Florida. So don't want to miss that one. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great week. Take care.